Hi, I'm Carmelle, and you're in Carmelle's world, and I'm back. Today's episode of Carmelle's world will be about self-esteem. Now, I was supposed to get this a while, like a couple of days earlier than now, but I figured, it's the end of the year, it's New Year's Eve. When better time to talk about self-esteem? It's getting ready to be a whole brand new year, brand new you, and or he, and I feel like it's a good time to talk about it. So let's talk about it. Let's have a dialogue. Let's have a conversation, okay? Before I start in on that, I just want to throw a disclaimer out there that I am not a licensed psychologist, psychiatrist, counselor, coach, lifestyle coach. None of those things, and nor do I want to be any of those things, but I do have a degree and a certification in life. 52. And when you are a half a century in, you know some things, you see some things, you experience some things. So therefore, you can kind of sort of give your opinion on some things. And, know that your opinion is going to be taken at least serious or merited, that, you can take some of the life experience that I have, it can expound on, and kind of run with it. Now, with that being said, also, I know that there are scammers on YouTube that will take unknown or not well known YouTubers, and they will say, oh, they, they'll say they're you, and they will go and they will, basically mask themselves as one of us, and then they'll try to scam people out of money. I don't ask for money. I'm not asking for money, nor have I ever asked for money. I've never tried to give anybody personal life experience coaching on any level. So if anybody tells you that they're Carmelle from Carmelle's world, they are lying, they are scamming you, and make it do what it do with that phone call. Okay? So with that being said, now let us move on. The definition of self-esteem is your overall opinion of yourself, how you feel about your abilities and limitations. And if you have good self-esteem, you feel good about yourself, and you see yourself as deserving the respect of others. Low self-esteem, you put little value on positive opinions and higher value on negative opinions. And when I say that, as far as low self-esteem is concerned, it means that you put little value on people's positive opinions of you. That, oh, congratulations, you really earned that. Oh yeah, well, I could have did better. Low self-esteem. But when somebody says something about you negative, oh, you know what? I know you got that, but girl, you could have worked harder. You could have got the next one up. Yeah, I know I could have. I know it's my fault, and you put that positive, you spin it around on the influence. And so, there's a difference between low self-esteem and high self-esteem, basically. Um, I'm reading from my paper because I got my trusty dusty notebook as part of the use. And normally I have my headscarf. In fact, you know what? Not part of Headscarf Chronicles, but we know I love my headscarves. So I'm just gonna have one on for now. It's like my security blanket. I don't know if you guys, if any of y'all are young enough to remember Linus and his blankie, and he used to be with the Peanuts gang, and everywhere he go, he take his little blanket with him. Yeah, well, this is kind of sort of like my blankie, my security blanket. So now let's continue. Um, okay. 9 common characteristics of people with high self-esteem. They believe in themselves. They know what they want or need. They have effective communication skills. They have a drive to succeed. They are comfortable with change. They enjoy healthy relationships, and that's very important. They're goal orientated and able to laugh at themselves. Signs of low self-esteem: poor confidence, lack of self-control, negative comparisons, problems asking for what they want or need, worry and self-doubt, trouble accepting positive feedback, negative self-talk, fear of failure. And one of the questions that I will be addressing: does mental illness accompany low self-esteem? And at what age does self-esteem or the lack of it start at? How does low self-esteem start? And what can cause low self-esteem? So we got a couple of questions. You know how I do. I always have questions, and I always try to expound on each question as much as I can with the time factors that I have, given myself. Now, with the non-common characteristics of people with high self-esteem, let's review. Believe in themselves. You believe that you are capable of doing what it is that you set out to do. You have a belief that you can do this. You can acquire whatever it is that you need to acquire to follow through on what it is you want to do and succeed at doing it. You know what you want, you know what you need. And, you don't have a problem as far as when it says effective communication skills. You have no problems asking for it. You will and will go up to a person or go into an agency or go into a building with the intent of getting what it is that you need or you want. Comfortable with change. You won't have a problem if a situation arises that, you can't do it like this, you have to do it like that. Or you can't, if something happens where you have to move out of your home into another home for whatever the reason. You may not like the idea of having to leave the situation, but you have no problems with leaving the situation because at the end of the day, self-preservation. Able to laugh at yourself. Say for instance, you walking into a building, you walk into the building's door because it's clear glass, and I know somebody that's actually done this, so that's why I'm using it as an example. And you basically walk into the door because you really can't tell the difference between the door and the glass wall because it all just seems like it's running together. Everybody might bust out laughing. You have high self-esteem, you'll be able to laugh at yourself. Like, I can't believe I just did this. Somebody with low self-esteem will be sitting there picking themselves to death in their head mentally about how could I make this mistake? I look stupid. Why would, and people are laughing at me. Why would I, why did I do this? This makes no sense, and then people are laughing at me too. It's not funny. It's embarrassing. So you take and you pick the worst parts of what could possibly happen and what people could be possibly thinking about instead of just laughing at yourself. And if somebody's thinking negative, oh well. Let them be negative about it. It could have happened to them. It could happen to anybody, and it has. You have enjoy healthy relationships. Very important, and I did say that, and I said that for a reason, because when you have high self-esteem, you know your worth, and you're not going to be in a relationship that doesn't value your worth with a person that doesn't value your worth. He knows or she knows exactly what you're worth, and you're worthy of being treated with respect, dignity, honor. There, have trust, and the compatibility is there. And if it's not, once again, going back to knowing what you want and you need. I know what I want, I know what I need. And if the relationship is not working, it's not healthy. So I'm going to walk away from it. Having no problem with change. I'm going to walk away from it, and I'm going to have to make it do what it do and move on. And somebody with low self-esteem may stay in that negative relationship because they really don't know their worth. They don't value themselves as a person should. And they will stay in a negative relationship where they might be getting talked about, battered verbally, abusive, relationship, because their self-esteem is so low. Their self-worth is so low. Their idea and image of who they are is so low that they are looking for their self-worth in somebody else's viewpoint. And if that person is abusive person, verbally, physically, mentally, spiritually, or what have you, they will deal with that because they don't think they're worth anything better than what they're receiving. They might even think that it's their fault they're getting what they're getting from the person, not realizing that it's not them, it's actually the person. So there's a distinct difference. With low self-esteem, poor confidence, lack of control, negative comparisons, problems asking for what they need, self-doubt. You doubt yourself. You doubt your abilities to be able to do things and accomplish things. You worry about everything. There's nothing that you don't worry about. Everything is a problem. Trouble accepting positive feedback, even though they may do something positive and something good. If somebody tells them, oh, well, congratulations, you did this, you did that, you're really good. Your boss comes up and tells you, oh, well, you know what? Thank you for handling this case, or thank you for handling this caseload for me. You did an excellent job. Yeah, well, thank you very much, but, I could have probably done better, or so-and-so with such and such probably could have did a better job than I could have. But I thank you anyway for the compliment, but I really don't deserve it. They can't take positive feedback. They can't take positive acclamations. They have negative self-talk, like I was just saying. They're talking negative about everything that they do. They're talking about negative about themselves. They're talking negative about their abilities. They're just talking negative, period. Fear of failure. Even though they don't want to fail, and if they just put the good foot forward, they probably won't. But because they have such a low idea of themselves, failure is imminent for them because they won't even try. Sometimes because they're scared to fail, they won't even make an attempt to try because they're scared that they won't be able to do anything right. So therefore they figure I'm going to do it wrong anyway if I try, so I'm not even going to try. Does mental illness accompany low self-esteem? First question. Sometimes it can. Some mental illnesses that foster low self-esteem, but is not limited to anxiety, depression, bipolar, personality disorders. A disorder that will make you question yourself, will make you question your mental state of mind, where your personality is affected, and when you think about yourself, you don't have the highest version of who you are, the highest positive outlook for yourself. When you have bipolar disorder, it's kind of difficult at times to really look at yourself in a positive way. It's very easy to look at yourself in a negative way. And when you have anxiety disorder, you anxious about a lot of things. You anxious about most things. Things that the average normal person wouldn't even be anxious about, wouldn't think twice about. A person with anxiety disorder, they're going to think about 3,000-4,000 times. Well, what about this? Well, what about that? Well, I wonder about this and I wonder about that. Well, is this possible? Is that possible? Or maybe not. It's probably not. They doubt everything. They go into it with a full head of steam of negativity. It said, the next question, at what age does self-esteem or the lack start to show? Between the ages of 4 and 11, as children develop socially, cognitively, and gain some sense of independence. When you start seeing your child, your toddler, your little young adult, and they start wanting that independence. So you have some kids that just want to branch out and see the world. They're just so, you know, um, into wanting to do things for themselves. I want to tie my own shoes. I want to drink out my own cup. I don't need any help feeding myself. I don't need any help putting my clothes on. I could do that myself. And then you have some that just they're not there yet, and they kind of still in a baby phase where they want and they need the help. And a lot of times too, it be the parents wanting to keep the child in the baby phase and don't want the child to grow up. And so they may keep that child. That child automatically isn't doing it. They'll try to keep them there anyway because they're not ready to admit to themselves, I no longer have a little kid. I have a young adult. I have a young person. I have a little person. And, what I should be doing is cultivating that little person to be an independent little person. But instead, I'm cultivating that person to want to need me for everything because this way, I'll never lose my baby. So sometimes it could be also the parents as far as keeping the child in a mindset that's counterproductive for them to have high self-esteem, unfortunately. It says how does low self-esteem start? It says often in childhood. Stress and difficult life events such as serious illness or bereavement or loss of someone very close to the person, like a parent or a loved one, like if you're grown, might be a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a husband, a wife, a child, but they're going through loss, bereavement, and it can have a negative effect on self-esteem. Personality also plays a part. Some people, their personality, they're just not geared to have high self-esteem. You have to teach them how to have high self-esteem. Some just have it. They just bust out the gate with it, and you see it. They just want to see the world, know the world. They just, everything is a new experience for them, and they just don't have any problems with going into that new experience with, bright eye and bushy tail. And then you have some where it's like you have to kind of nudge them a little bit, push them a little bit. It's going to be okay. Get them to the gate so that they could at least bust out on their own and try to figure it out. But kind of convince them to get to the gate to begin with, if you get what I'm saying. Let's see, where was I at? Some people are just more prone to have negative thinking, while others are in possibly high standards, possibly high standards for themselves. Some causes: an unhappy childhood where the parents or significant people, teachers, were extremely critical. Poor academic performance in school resulting in a lack of confidence. Ongoing stressful life events like relationships breakdowns. Financial trouble. Okay, what causes low self-esteem? Unsupportive parents, bullying over or under supportive parents, friends who are bad influences, belief systems. Some people, they can basically, I'm trying to think of a way to put it. Some belief systems are so rigid and that they create low self-esteem. Those belief systems are not knocking them, but they're just very rigid. They're very strict, and they're made to keep the person in check, keep the person under control. And so, with that being said, it doesn't foster high self-esteem. It fosters your self-esteem is based on what I tell you it is. You can do this or you can't. You can have that or you won't. You can do this or you don't. Like it's very strict. And because of the strictness, it basically gives the person their level of esteem, if you get what I'm saying. society and the media, uh, mood disorders. We've already gone through that, like depression, anxiety. And depression is a big one with low self-esteem. They like kind of run neck and neck with each other, because when you're depressed, you just have a feeling of, I just can't do anything right. I just don't even understand why I should even get up. I'm just not, worthy of anything good or what have you. And then you look at low self-esteem, kind of sort of the same thing. The only difference is low self-esteem, you can break out of it. You can be taught. Depression is, I believe, a chemical imbalance in the brain. So with that, it's a lot different, because you could bring somebody up out of the depression, but you got to work with them. And you can teach somebody to have high self-esteem. Depression, you can teach a person about how to recognize the signs of it and how to combat it, but because it's a chemical imbalance, I believe, it's going to be difficult to try to get them to stay up out of it until that chemical in the brain that's controlling it gets back to normal. When it levels out, then they're able to come up out of it. But sometimes you can also fake it till you make it. How you can improve your self-esteem: identify and challenge your negative beliefs. Identify the positives about yourself. Build positive relationships. Avoid negative ones. Give yourself a break. Become more assertive and learn to say no, because most time when people have low self-esteem, they are not assertive. They can be told what to do very easily, and they just go along with the program just to be going along with the program. And everything is yes, because they're afraid to say no, because they really don't want people to not like them, because they already don't like themselves. You can improve your physical health. You can lose weight. You can, learn to meditate. You can, try to get a better dress code. Go shopping, and not saying let me stress. If you know that you have a history of like gambling or not being able to control your situation with finances, when you go out, you just spend, spend, spend. Get a friend to help you to help yourself, and go out. Give yourself a budget. Buy some new clothes. Make yourself feel good. And it also changes how you look at the world, because it changes how you see yourself, because you're no longer looking the way you normally would. You're looking better than you normally would. And then just kind of go out in the world and take the world by storm. Take on challenges. Challenge yourself to do things that you wouldn't normally do. At work, take on responsibility. Maybe even one little responsibility. You can do it, but because you've never attempted to try to do it, they may assume you can't. So take the Pepsi challenge. Go ahead and get yourself a challenge, and then see what happens. Make an attempt, especially if you know that you're good at something. Even if you think you're not good enough, but you're good, you know how to do something. You just don't want to fail at it, because you don't want people to think bad of you, or you don't want people to think negative of you. So what you do, you have to excuse me. My daughter's in the background. She's talking in another part of the house. So if you hear her, please excuse. Also, my background is my bedroom. I had said this in the beginning. So you see stuff. I don't have a curtain up behind me, so that you can't see what is going on. It is what it is. I'm a realist. I'm a real person. This is real time in a real room. So, like I said, talking loud as I don't know what. And with that being said, I am going to close out with my words on self-esteem. Self-esteem, we should have more of it. We should learn to love ourselves from small children. But a lot of times when you have parents who have depression going on with them, or bipolar going on with them, or life experiences, just, life experiences have got them down. They don't know how to be positive parents. So their parenting isn't positive, which doesn't create a atmosphere of positivity for the child. And so the child grows up in less than positive, and around backgrounds. And then when they get old enough, they don't know any better. They're just negative people, or they have negative outlooks on life. So when you get to being old enough to know right from wrong, and you see other people around you and you see them positive and you see them grabbing life by the ankles and running with it, and you're wondering, like, well, why would you do that? Why this and why that? Why would you take a chance like that? That might not work for you. Why would you even try? Try what they're doing. Try it their way and see if it works for you. Because maybe it's not them. Maybe it's you. Maybe you need to go to someone and talk to them about it. You look fine. I'll be back. Maybe you need to go. That was my daughter, by the way, the one you heard talking. Hold on one second. Okay, now we won't have to hear screaming and laughing and talking because mouth almighty is gone. Anyway, like I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted, even though it was a good rude, but still it was rude nonetheless. I can't even remember where I left off at, but maybe it's not them that's weird and the way they're acting or interacting. Maybe it's you, because of the way that you see the world, because you see the world through negative lenses. And maybe you should try looking at the world through a positive lens and see where that gets you, see where it leads to. And you might actually learn to have a more positive outlook. Self-esteem will raise, and you'll realize, you know what? Maybe if I try some more of that, maybe, just maybe, I will have more positive outlooks, and maybe I'll have more positive ending results. And that, my friend, will change your self-esteem from this to this. Now, that is the end of my conversation. And with that being said, like, comment, and subscribe. Please get in the comments. Talk to me. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you want to see more of. Tell me what you think that would be a good idea. Ideas that the wheels on the bus go round and round. And just let me know, maybe what I can improve on or what have you. And with that being said, once again, this is Carmelle in Carmelle's World. I love my soul tribe. I love you guys. I thank you for the views. You could have looked and seen in anybody else's video. You could have looked at the one before me. You could have looked at the one after me. But you decided to come and step in my world and be part of my moments. And I'm grateful forever for that. Thank you very much. And I love you guys. And I'm out. Mwah.